Society is over there, and Paul, who is our IT genius, also to float around somewhere is David Whittle from this museum. The 58 Ships is a joint kind of venture between the festival, the Harwich Society, and...
Could you stand that side? Because you've got all the picture all over your
right.
chest.
I can, but I need the lectern. I actually need
okay.
Standing in
so
front of...
it's great, I can stand there,
Yes.
but now I can't see any of my materials.
Okay.
And when I'm doing this, I won't be able to hold them. See?
Stand right close
So
to
unless
me.
somebody wants to come up with a music stand, there we go. I'm content to stand here for now, but I'm going to go back over there in a minute. So, yeah, this is a joint project between the three organisations, the Shankly Festival, the Harwich Society and the museum. And we know that it's an open-ended project. 58 ships is a lot of ships, as you are about to discover. And the genius of it is that as you go into any one ship, you go down a little rabbit warren of people and events and places and stories, and then when you come out the other side, sometimes you've just ended up completely in a different place. Sometimes you find you ended up with another ship from the list. It's fascinating. That happened to me this morning. And I found myself looking into a completely different ship, and I hadn't even noticed it was happening. So I'm just to demonstrate how wide this thing is. These two books came off my shelf at various times. One is about the mutiny on the Bounty, which, having once conducted something similar in a school, is a subject close to my heart. And this one's about Prince Rupert. Him that was famous in the Civil War, charging around being a cavalier. And you think, what could possibly connect the mutiny on the Bounty with Prince Rupert? And the short answer is Harwich and the Harwich ships, because Prince Rupert was in fact the Vice Admiral of England when the Navy Yard was established. The second ship on the list, the gorgeously named Fan Fan, I'll tell you a bit more about in a minute, was built for him. And the next ship after it was named after him. Okay, and it turns out he was a much more capable admiral, possibly, than he was a general. But there we go. After the mutiny on the Bounty, it turns out Captain Bligh, having been sent back to Tahiti to do the job properly and succeeded in doing that, became a captain and ended up captaining a ship that was built here in Harwich and took that, I believe, to Copenhagen, the Battle of Copenhagen. So there we go, that's what links them. So in preparation for the original part of this project, I wrote a bit of a song and I explained, and I know some of you were either there or, as Chris just told me, you've watched the video, and I had to apologise to Paul several times for the fact that I did not stand still. So he was trying to be like a football cameraman, watching me going backwards and forwards. Not that I'm that fast, but there we go. And that time I'd done a bit of research into HMS Harwich, which forms the first ship on the board, and two others. And my song was basically a very short song with a bit of HMS Harwich in it. So just going down the list, I just went on to the next one, and I did a bit of research into Fan Fan. I'm going to read you a bit from the book over there, Charles Spencer's book about Prince Rupert. This is the aftermath of what became known as the St James's Day fight between the British and the Dutch. This was one which the British, well, the English won. Not all of the battles that year were so successful. Admiral de Ruyter's had his day as well. But on this occasion, the English came out on top, and the Dutch turned and ran away. Lack of wind, says Charles Spencer, slowed the English pursuit. As de Ruyter turned for home, he fired on Rupert's sloop, the tiny Fan Fan, which was assisting repairs to the Royal Charles. One of Fan Fan's crew was killed. Although this was a single casualty among the 1,000 suffered by the English that day, the Prince was infuriated. He ordered the sloop to row after the Seven Provinces, that's Admiral de Ruyter's flagship, in search of a modicum of revenge. Sir Thomas Clifford recorded the comedy after the carnage. So now this is Sir Thomas Clifford. The little Fan made up with her oars to de Ruyter and brought her 2 little guns on one side, and for near an hour continued playing broadside and broadside, which was so pleasant a sight when no ship of either side could come near. There was so little wind that all ours fell into laughter, and I believe the Dutch into indignation to see their admiral so chaste. So there we go. So Fan had its moment of glory. It was, I discover, it had only been in commission for 2 weeks at this point. So it's inevitably you think, I wonder about this ship Rupert. So I found myself having spent a good half an hour doing research into that. So anyway, without much further ado, I'm going to sing you the current iteration of the song, which has now acquired a couple of verses about HMS Fan. Okay, your bit is the chorus, which comes after every 2 verses now, otherwise it gets boring. It has already been pointed out to me that we can't have a song with 58 verses, plus a beginning and an end. Although, look at some of those old long ballads.
You can have a go.
Have a read sometime of the Ballad of Chevy Chase and see how many verses that's got. And indeed, Fan gets 2 verses, so on that basis things could get very long indeed. And my plan at the moment is that the next verse would probably be a continuation of the story in terms of another Harwich. We can find another Harwich ship that was involved in this Anglo-Dutch thing. That would be good. So I'm going to have to stand in front of here now, because otherwise I will not be able to see what I've written. And I've had to learn that when I want to read these days, I have to take my glasses off. So, your bit is the chorus, which goes: 58 ships were built in the King's Yard, 58 ships for the Royal Navy. Ships great and small, with their masts standing tall. The Harwich ships sail on the 7 seas. That's your bit. Now the good news is that the tune is pretty much the same for all the verses. The shipwrights of Harwich were known the world over. The shipwrights of Harwich were men of renown. So Anthony Dean, for the new King's Navy, established a shipyard in old Harwich town. And then I sing verse 2. First to the sea in 1660 was HMS Harwich, a sprit-silvery hoy, 62 tons and a handful of guns, built for supply and the setting of boys. 58 ships for London King's Yard, 58 ships for the Royal Navy. Ships great and small, with their masts standing tall. The Harwich sailed all the world's 7 seas. Next to the sea was HMS Fan, a yacht for Prince Rupert, that admiral of fame, built in our yard, named for Francis Escobar, the only ship ever to carry the name. 1666, at the height of the summer, the English and Dutch sent their navies to meet on St. James's Day, when the Dutch ran away. Bob Fan gave chase at the head of the fleet. 58 ships were born in the yard, 58 ships for the Royal Navy. Ships great and small, with their masts standing tall. The Harwich should sail all the world's 7 seas. When iron replaced wood, the old shipwrights retired. The old crane was moved to a place on the green. The King's Yard is gone, but the memories live on in the names of the ships and Sir Anthony Dean. 58 ships were launched in the King's Yard.